has Magnus arrived since the fast start? It's been all MVL, and we have a wild one here.
Hey, Danny, well, Logic's complimenting your jawline, so seems like you're a fan favorite right now.
Complimented by what?
Magnus, your jawline.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. I would love to give a shout out to some sort of product, but I can't do that. Bobby has a great jawline himself. I'm not going to lie. All right. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. We got 25K of you, wow, on Twitch. And 20,000 on YouTube. It's gonna be a fun finish, I think.
Yeah, and well, right now I think Maxime is trying to calm the situation down because look at this position here. His rook's on a2, which allows his other rook to slide to a1. White is claiming there's one open file in this position, and I am going to have control of it. Not that black is any danger. There are no weaknesses to pile up pressure on, but it's just clear that white's plan comes more naturally. And actually, what is black's plan?
Yeah, a good rebound game if you're MVL from that perspective. I love highlighting the ideas you're talking about because the A file is just dominant, and it seems funny in a position where, okay, how much is an open file really worth? But when there's no other features in the position, it can be worth a whole lot. Now rook a1, black can't play rook a8, so white is really in control. You can play knight f5, queen b4, rook a7. All these things are on the agenda for white.
And the problem for black isn't so much that the A file, as you're saying, will amount to anything concrete at the moment. It's just how it frustrates your opponent. Because when we're playing chess, we're trying to come up with ideas, right? And if we see our opponent has 4 different options that look pretty good, and for us, we're like, well, I can't really get active here. I can't play d5, for example, for black. And now I certainly can't play d5, but I couldn't before because e5 would have been hanging. The bishop on e7 looks worse than the bishop on e3. Because black's competing for the A file, I'm going to give his position a little more credit. But a few moves ago, it felt like black wasn't doing anything at all. At least now he is challenging for the open queen side.
Yeah, and while you were talking about that, I was highlighting the purpose of queen c6, protecting the a8 square, which was obviously Magnus's idea, and a good one because we were talking about how important the A file was. But it still feels like white should be in control of these squares. Although knight e2, rather than the aggressive move, this is turning around. Suddenly the d3 pawn is the weakest one on the board, and I feel like Magnus has seen the worst already of this Ruy Lopez. I like his chances now.
Oh, he's definitely better because look at that knight on c5. You can capture it, but then the knight can just replace the other. And d3 is a target, whereas black's pawns are not under attack. So it's sort of flipping the script, if you will, because before white was the one who was controlling the dynamic. Here, the only person with a problem is Maxime. And I think if you're Maxime, you try to find a way to ensure that you make a draw in the near future. You do not want this game to continue for Magnus to build up a second avenue of attack, and not attack in terms of checkmate, but creating a new weakness, a new target to exploit.
I really think that's a great point that Robert just made, just from the psychological perspective. We always say in these things, we remember the final games in Bullet, but these moments are just as defining in regards to who won the match. And losing 2 in a row would be the full swing the other way, right? So even to the point of sucking the life out of the position and limiting your own winning chances, MVL match strategy should be to not lose this game. Just get a draw. Don't let Carlsen find his groove.
Much easier said than done because the knight on c3 and the bishop a5 right now, and then an e1 behind it, they don't have an outpost to work with. d3 remains a problem. And now that bishop, which was sitting on e7 behind some pawns, look at how strong it is now.
Dude, speaking of finding your groove, you and I'm highlighting things right as you're saying it. It's just like the dynamic there. Are you inside my head? While you're there, could you take out the garbage? Appreciate it. Forgot to do it before I left. All right, queen b1 check is going to win d3. And Magnus is playing for 2 results. This is what you don't want if you're MVL. This could be a second win in a row.
This is a problem because you need to just make sure you don't get back rank checkmated if you're Magnus. So probably play h6. I think that it takes away most of white's hopes for some kind of checkmate or a draw by perpetual check. He does so. e4 is hanging. c4 is hanging. I don't know how you're going to hold this.
We see a sitting back Maxime for the first time today. I mean, just seriously, looking at the body language, we know when Magnus is dejected. Him and Nakamura often wear their emotions on their sleeve, but Maxime has been all here, right, Robert? He's been all focused, and now he's a little bit sitting back, a little bit frustrated emotionally here.
Queen e2 next is going to be a problem. Don't play queen e2 now because queen f5 check. Like that's the one thing you do not want to allow is a draw by repetition like that.
You can even just move the knight for the queen to guard f5 if you'd like. G6, as you said, is totally playable as long as you're sure you can slide to G7 next to guard f7. I think you can. Magnus is obviously thinking, okay, he decides to be safe. I respect that decision because G6, maybe there was H5. He's trying to make sure he doesn't give Maxime any chances.
But sometimes you do these things and you're too cautious because C5 was a good move by Maxime. And if you start trading pieces, that could help White's chances to hold the game. But you say this very often and you say it well, that knight and pawn endgames are most similar to king and pawn endgames. So having an extra pawn on the same side of the board, it still gives very good winning chances to the side with the extra pawn.
Only 17 seconds for MVL. What? A blunder?
Oh, blunder.
Oh,
blunder.
He just missed queen f5. The pin to win.
Yep.
f6 is coming. Wait. Why didn't he play f6?
I don't know.
What's going on?
He's not winning anymore.
Why does rook here make you burp? I don't know what's going on here, Kramer. He missed it. f6 won a piece.
That was just, wow. Shocking.
Oh my gosh.
And Magnus down to 5 seconds. He's got to move. Wait,
queen! What the queen? Gosh! I've never seen Magnus play a move like that. Like, ever.
Oh my goodness.